So, welcome to the podcast, Heather.
Thank you for having me. I'm so lucky and grateful. Thank you very much.
I'm actually so excited that you're finally here because I've been trying to get you on for a long time. But I love Energy Muse. I love what you're about. I love the pictures of the huge crystals that you have on Instagram.
Oh,
And I'd
thanks.
love for you to share your story, your background with the listeners.
Oh, okay. I got into crystals about, I don't know, 28 years ago. And for me, it was a love at first sight. I was definitely not in this world. Selling real estate. But I ended up stumbling upon this store that had this crystal and it had a book in the store. And I ended up calling the author of the book and I asked her if she would teach me everything she knew. So I flew to the big island of Hawaii, and that's where my crystal journey began. And I think anybody that knows about crystals or has ever been enchanted by them, they kind of get you. For me, it was what got me was I loved that they were so pretty and sparkly, and I loved that they were from different parts of the world. And so I felt like I could travel to different
Hmm.
parts of the world and visit all these places through the energy of these minerals. So that's how it started for me. And I ended up I quit selling real estate. I started Energy Muse with my best friend Timmy. We've owned our company and so grateful to still be here 21 years later. And our mission is to really, I think, help people that are new to crystals start
Yes.
and have it not be scary. And how do we take step one? We don't know anything about crystals. How do we work with them? And we really want to be, we hope to be the leaders of education and information and a safe place for people to come and learn about crystals and just enjoy the magnificence and magical energy that they help as a tool help bring out your greatest good within yourself.
Yeah, I love crystals. I'll tell you that. I'm obsessed. I
Yay.
really love crystals. And I wanted to talk about because people are really intrigued by crystals in general.
Yes.
Like, I mean, because they're gorgeous and they're interesting, and then you find out all these different values that they have. Each one has its own personality.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and so, but people don't know how to use them. They don't know like how do they work? Like how do you use them? What can you do with them? So let's start with that. I'm sure it's a
Okay.
huge answer, but
Well, you know what I think it can be a very simple answer. And for me, crystals has always been a journey about me learning to trust myself. And that's still going on for me because I think that crystals were my entry point for me to go, okay, do I like this? Okay, should I get this? I really like it, but all these where I don't second guess myself and I'm like, I love this crystal. I love the color of it. I love what it looks like. I'm just going to have it. I'm going to hold on to it. So
Mhm.
if you are entering the world of crystals, trust yourself. Is there a color that you're attracted to? Is there a shape you like? Is there something you just don't know why? The minute you have it in your hand, it just feels right.
Mhm.
Trust that that's the crystal for you. And it's really simple. The hard part is the trusting that you know and can connect with what's right for you in that moment. So
Right.
I would say that's step one. And then as 28 years later, I think that crystals all have energy to them, but how they interact with us will be very personal because
Right.
we all are very different, right? So, for example, rose quartz, and what I also think is cool about crystals is they kind of tell you what they do without even you having to ask. So, if you look at a rose quartz, which is pink, it looks like love.
It
So,
does.
even if you don't know anything about crystals, you kind of look at it and go, God, I feel kind of my heart's kind of opening. I kind of like that. And you're already in. And
Yep.
so, but for that rose quartz, for somebody might help them heal from grief, or somebody
Mhm.
else, it might help them attract a mate, or for somebody else, it may help them love themselves, or for somebody else, it might just make them feel happy. Do you see
Right.
how one crystal did all the, so there's not like one size fits all. And for me,
Yeah.
maybe that's why I like crystals. They're diverse. They don't care about your age or your sex or what your belief systems are. They just are an energy field for you to tap into that's just pure light. And I love that about them.
Yeah. Me too. And talk about also piezo, I think it's called piezo energy or piezo energy
Yes,
that
yes.
they actually have found in crystals because people don't realize that they actually contain energy and they also have, they use them for watches
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they could
yeah.
store information.
Memory and
Yeah, it's
information.
fantastic. It's fascinating.
So, there's always a lot of science. If you were to track crystals throughout the history of time, every ancient civilization have used crystals for technology in some way. Okay, so if you look at how crystals are using it today, they're using in some of the most advanced lasers and technology. The screen is liquid crystal display, LCD screens. The main component of computer chips that's fueling the communication of our whole planet is silicon dioxide,
Mm.
which is where we store information. So if you look at it from just even a bigger perspective, is that if like huge tech firms, I think it was Saatchi and Saatchi, or that they're able to store millions of data, just data upon data, into a small chip, and it can be computerized and programmed. Well, how come we couldn't program something that we wanted to use as a computer chip or an energy source on our body? And
Hmm.
so more and more people, I think, are playing around with that concept. And but for me, crystals are the tool. They are definitely an energy source we can work with. But I feel like we personally need to be remind how empowered we are as people,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
we don't need to give our power away.
Hmm.
We can use tools and all these wonderful things that are out there to help us be better than we are, help us heal grief, help us do all the things that we as humans are doing here on the earth plane, and using crystals as a energetic earth tool to help guide us on our journey.
Yeah, so well said. I had actually a list of crystals that are good for fertility on Instagram. And it went crazy because people love crystals. They're so intrigued. And a lot of questions I got was, how do I use the crystals? And for me, one of the things that I said a lot of times is really set your intention towards the crystals
Yes,
because I think that you just pointed out so well is that we forget that our intention ourselves is so powerful. And when we actually
yes.
put that intention towards the crystals, it infuses it with more energy and power.
Right. And what we're doing is we put our intentions in the crystals, we're putting the intention into our own crystalline energy body, right? So
Mm.
if we're all energy and light, and many people say there's this crystalline being within us. Every time we're programming something else, we're also programming ourselves.
Hmm.
So it's this interactive exchange. As we hold something, we're taking the time to set our intentions and reprogram our cellular neurology, our biology, our cells, our DNA with what we want to have run through us. And the
Hmm.
crystals are something we could hold on to. Oh, hey, yes, say the affirmation again. Oh, yes, say yes. So today, if I hold my necklace, oh, what was my affirmation? Reprogram. Am I reprogramming the crystal, or am I reprogramming myself? They both are working in an exchange of energy. So it just once again shows us that if we take the time and we set our intentions on positive things that we want, and we watch our words and we watch our thoughts, we can shift our life very quickly. But that's the job. That's the
Hmm.
job of staying on top of it. So
Yeah.
that's the whole thing with all this stuff, as to anything you do, especially in fertility. And I had a very, I didn't have a quick, an easy road of my fertile life, which is why there's a whole chapter in Crystal Muse dedicated to it, because I got pregnant very easily the first time, but I didn't the second time. So I had to learn a lot of things along the way to help me, um, be able to get pregnant again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so did you use crystals?
Hmm. Yeah. So I got pregnant on my wedding night, and my mom is a dressmaker. So my mom, I got, married when I was 32, but my mom wanted to have a grandbaby. So she made my wedding dress and lined it, the whole dress, with moonstones. Now,
Oh,
Moonstone is
interesting.
believed to be the crystal of fertility.
Hmm.
And then the man that made my wedding ring is a stone alchemist. And when he gave the wedding ring to my husband, he said, "Be very careful. This is a very fertile wedding ring because I made it under a full moon." So
Oh,
a full
interesting.
moon is another thing that when you want to, work with the energetics of getting pregnant, you work with the moon cycles. So
Hmm.
I did get pregnant on my wedding night. There was a lot of forces with me, but then when I went to get pregnant again, it wasn't so easy the second time around. But those are great stones. Moonstone is an amazing stone to program to work with a new moon, to work with on a full moon, to wear in your bra, to have on you as often as you can when you are looking to get pregnant and working with the energy of the moon for fertility. Yeah.
And putting it on your bare skin
Oh yeah.
is the best, right? Because people can
Yeah.
put it, like outside, or but to actually have it touch your skin.
Yeah, that's really important. What has been embarrassing for me in the past is, I load up my bras with, crystals, and then I go to,
I love it.
go to take off my bra, and like all these rocks fall out. But I definitely, I think having it on that skin, wearing it on your body, and I definitely like having it around the heart region.
Hmm.
I liked wearing it around my boobs because it was kind of like this energy of nurturing and whatnot. So for me, that's where I wore it. And I also made a fertility belt where I wore around
Oh,
my
cool.
stomach before I got pregnant. And once again, this is all in Crystal Muse, the first book, and it's on Baby Makes Three, the chapter. And I really go into a deep dive on all the specifics of what I did with crystals to get pregnant again the second time. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then what other crystals? I know rose quartz they talk about a lot for fertility as well. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because it is so good for opening the heart. And the heart there is a vessel that connects the heart to the uterus. In Chinese medicine,
Yes.
we call it the Bao Mai. And it's really interesting how that is actually seen as something to help fertility as well.
I love that. What I also find is a lot of women, when they don't get pregnant right away, or the journey's longer than they want it to be, there becomes this, what's the matter with me? Why am I not getting pregnant? And so then you shift into, instead of the loving energy, the self-doubt, the self-loathe, what's the matter with me? So rose quartz kind of helps you keep in that space. And
Hmm.
that's why I love crystals, is that they help remind us where we want to go when our mind takes us somewhere else.
Right.
They hold the space for us when we can't hold the space for ourselves.
I love that. And also jade, right? Jade's
Jade,
really.
yeah, jade is, really good because it is all about longevity. It has an essence of good luck. But once again, we're going back to the heart chakra, which you were just
Hmm.
talking about.
Green. Yeah.
The greens and the pinks are really good for that. Keeping open, not going into that space, really keeping you in the momentum of moving forward to what your journey is. And getting pregnant is, if you look at it as a journey and what you're supposed to learn about yourself and your relationship, and my background was also in feng shui. I would also look at bedroom and what's happening in the bedroom, and there's a lot of things you need to pay attention to when you're trying to get pregnant, of what's going on in the bedroom. There's many layers to all of it. Your
Hmm.
nutrition, what's going on with that. There's, you know what I'm saying? So you learn
Yeah,
a lot about
absolutely.
yourself on your journey to having a baby.
Yeah, totally. You really do. A lot of people say, a lot of times my patients will say, like, I've learned so much about my health and my nutrition that I wouldn't have even thought about if I didn't have the challenges that I did. And I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of like it directs you to focus more on yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, and as women, sometimes we'll give and we'll do for others that sometimes we need to remind ourselves to do for ourselves. And as we are wanting to go have a child, there's an energy of nurturing that we need to learn. And
Yeah,
so we're going to learn it maybe before the baby, the soul, comes into our being, into our energy fields.
yeah. And also carnelian is a big
Yes.
one.
Carnelian's a big one because, and I, once again, if we go back to sometimes if you don't even know about crystals, and and you're like, I don't know anything about it, but if you look at a carnelian, which is this very orange, it kind of reminds me of blood and moving the
Mm-hmm.
chi and getting
Yeah.
things active and getting things energized. And that's what carnelian's doing. It's like, what's your passion? Are you moving? What's going on? Is your energy moving? How's your chi moving? So
Mm-hmm.
it's an amazing stone when you're wanting to get pregnant. Absolutely.
And also, how do you clarify stone? There's so many different thoughts and ideas on how to clean the stones because they do store energy. How, I mean, I know one of them is having them in the moonlight on a full moon.
Yeah, I find personally lately, and this is once again, always trust yourself with any of this stuff. There's so much information out there, and there's so much good information. And I think it's important for one to discern the information for themselves. So,
Yeah.
what I personally have been finding is that I am doing extra steps with my cleansing process because I feel the energy on our planet Earth right now is very heavy and dense. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it needs a little bit more attention. You know, when you like clean your house, and there's some days you have to go a little deeper with the
Yep.
scrub.
Yep.
So what I'm finding is that I like to definitely put them outside under a full moon, but I also like to smudge them with smoke. But I also am putting my crystals next to sound. So I'll put
Mm.
like my speakers on, and I'll put either whatever I think. And there's cleansing, we have it Energy Muse. If you direct message us on Instagram, we will send you a free clearing sound, like a list of
Oh, that's
playlists that we
awesome.
have that you could just play for like an hour. And it has the megahertz music, it has chants, it takes you through all the spectrums of energetically clearing. So if you just had a speaker and you put the crystals next to it for an hour, I'm very about time efficiency. Go and
Hmm.
like take a shower, get ready, and then your crystals are being purified at another level with sound. I feel like
Oh,
sound
yeah.
helps to break up the energy really, really fast. And like I said, just direct message us at Energy Muse. We are here to serve, and we're
That's
here to give you the
awesome.
information so that you don't have to think and do it. That's really what we're trying to do
I
here.
love it.
So just direct message us and we'll get that over to you. Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, and smudging with sage or Palo Santo. If people don't know
Yes.
what smudging is, yeah. I love
Right.
sage. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
You really feel the difference.
It's using the element of smoke to
Hmm.
purify. And it's just like if you light a candle, it's that energy of the flame, it's the energy of smoke taking your dreams, your wishes, your prayers to a higher realm.
Yeah, I love that. And then one of the things, actually, I went to India a while ago and I had a Vedic astrology done.
Yay.
And what's really amazing about that, and also the palm reading that they do, is they tell you some of the remedies. Some of them, it's interesting. Some of them are mantras, which is sound, and some of them are crystals. And they'll
Mhm.
talk about certain
Yes.
stones that you should use in order
Oh
to
yeah.
help you. And
Yeah.
one of them, so I asked them because I had a necklace and it had beads, but they said that the beads act like a conduit
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
doesn't, you want the whole stone on your skin. I just was
Yeah.
curious to see what your thoughts were on that.
Well, I'm huge into Ayurvedic, and I don't have them on today, but I always wear crystals, which is based on the stones that align with the planets. Because
Hmm.
basically, what they're doing is you have different stones on different fingers or different parts of your body to
Hmm.
activate that planetary energy. So, for example, if you're trying to get pregnant and you're in your Saturn return, or you are have Saturn or whatnot, sometimes they would say you don't want to activate Saturn on your body. So it's definitely a science. I mean, you could have probably 30 more podcasts on this, but I
Hmm.
think if you did work with like an Ayurvedic practitioner, which I did,
Hmm.
because I do believe in aligning with plant. Like I'm all about like I want to align with whatever's going to help me do a fast track there. So
Yeah.
if I have Saturn against me and I need to be doing Saturn mantra or Saturn puja to clear up that frequency, or where the blue stones are more Saturn, the blue topaz, the sapphires, Those are Saturn stones. But sometimes I think what it is there's certain stones and its basis on a science on when you were born and what's going to work in your astrology and what
Yeah,
stones to wear to help balance you out so you're aligning to the planets and that things are easier.
right.
It's all about making things easier.
Yeah. So this is almost like the birthstones as well, right? In the month
Um,
you were born, or is it more specific?
it's more like, for example, if you want to activate your Jupiter, you'd wear that on your ring finger in a Saturn or a yellow sapphire. Like they're very specific. It's specific to the carats you wear, the clarity of the cut. Is it in gold? When was the hour the ring was designed?
Wow.
Do you see?
Yeah.
It's
So
it's
you
a
can
it's
get
a
really
it's a
intricate.
detailed science, and if you're kind of into all that, and I'm a science kind of, it seems like I'm into very you know uh I mean, I'm into energy, but I'm very scientific based. Things have
Hmm.
to logically make sense. I like to go into the history of things. I want to know about all that. So I think the more you take deeper dives into these subjects, you'll find that there's a lot of intellectual girth there, and there
Yeah.
is a lot of science, and there is a lot of technology.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at today's highest technology and our highest form of planetary whatever's going on in our world, they're all working with crystals in some way, because
Hmm.
that's how the top is it. Everybody's in the mineral world. Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, it really is amazing. And I think that people don't realize that. That's a thing. People think of crystals, they just think, okay, it's a rock. So, but they don't realize, no, there's actually they're being used in technology.
Well, and also they've been here for millions of years. So there's, people, uh, a lot of stuff. Where's lithium? It's being mined right
Right.
now. It's being mined. People should look and see where lithium's being mined.
Yeah.
Some Google research. All of our answers are very apparent right there in front of
Yeah.
us. So there's a lot of different places being mined right now, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I have a biomat at my office that has
Yay!
the crystals. It has the amethyst crystals, and the reason why they found it, the founders figured it out, is because I think people were working at an amethyst mine and they were
Mm-hmm.
healing. Their conditions were getting resolved, and they're like, "What is that? It must be the crystals." It's pretty fascinating.
It's very biomats are amazing, by the way. I
Yeah.
love those. But like, if even if you look at shungite, which
Hmm.
comes out of one place in the world in Russia, and
Hmm.
people were drinking this water and they weren't having radiation in their body.
Wow,
So
amazing.
there's a lot to dive into, and there's a lot of things out there, and there's a lot of science reports on a lot of this stuff. You just have to go a little bit deeper, but it's really interesting, and the molecular structure of these minerals and how they work with our bodies. It's cool.
And also using shungite, I bought those little discs that you can put on the back of your phone to
Yeah.
absorb radiation, or you can wear it as a necklace to absorb radiation if you're around it a lot.
Right. I think I almost look at it as more of a neutralizer, or I don't know. The only way really you could get rid of the 5G and all this going on right now is like to turn the stuff off and be away from it. But I definitely think it helps to neutralize and
Hmm.
respin the spin of that stuff. But I definitely feel like more and more people, we have a lot of information at Energy Muse on our blogs about shungite. It's important to get educated about that. It's important to get pieces next to all of your electrical devices and modems, especially if you're wanting to get pregnant.
Right.
Definitely, definitely, definitely important. But we have
Yeah.
a ton of information to educate you on that on Energy Muse. Yeah.
And also talk about like charging water with crystals. I find that fascinating as well. Like putting
Yeah.
crystals in water. Of course, you want to clean
Yeah.
it and you want to make sure it's a good quality.
Right. And just to make that super simple, because there are crystals that when wet are toxic.
Hmm.
And so if you're new to crystals and you don't want to get worried about that, what I like to do is just get a glass of water, and I will put a crystal instead of putting it inside, because we don't know, every mine is different no matter where it's mine. I will place them around the outside of my my energy of my glass, and
Hmm.
I'll just put it around, and then it still gets infused with all the crystalline energy. And then you're safe.
Hmm.
You don't have
Right.
anything in your water that you're drinking, just
Yeah.
to
Good
make it
point.
extra safe.
Good point.
Yeah.
See, that's what you would know because you know these
Yeah.
things. I think the layperson may not realize that certain
Yeah.
crystals can get toxic in water.
Yeah, and there's certain, all of them have different minerals, and some things when wet become toxic. So,
Right.
and just, it's, as in anything, there's a lot of things to learn, but if we keep it super simple, just put crystals around it,
Right.
you're fine.
Yeah.
Pick up a crystal and you love the color, hold it, wear it on your body,
Yeah.
have it around you. You'll start feeling things. And
Yeah.
that's the whole thing with crystals. It's like it helps you to open up to feel again,
Yeah. It's
you
that
know?
subtlety, it's that subtle energy that
Yeah,
because we do have that subtle antenna within us, but we're just always so bombarded with noise and outside
right.
distraction that we don't really tune into that. But when you do get
Yeah.
quiet, you could really feel gravitated towards certain stones, and you hold it in your hand, you really can feel it.
Yeah, and when I remember there was a lot of people that would say, I got this crystal and it didn't work. I've had this for like 4 days now. The crystal doesn't work. And my question back is always, well, it's not the crystal that's not working. Maybe something with you that's not working, that you need to go deeper, that you need to, you know what I mean? The crystal is there as a tool.
Hmm.
You, I don't want people to give their power over. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes.
It's more
To
about,
realize that you have a part.
yeah, you got to, it's an exchange. It's like
Mhm.
it's there to help you kind of go deeper, or help you to be more aware, is what you say, or help you to tune into subtle energy. This isn't like, they're not like, I mean, they're magical, but they're not magic rocks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The magic comes from the human
Right.
working with the crystal. That's the
Yes.
magic part. The magical
Yes.
part is the human being and their awakening. That's magic.
Well, that's the thing. I think that we don't realize how magical we are. I think that that's our biggest problem as humans.
Yes, yes. So more people really need to spend some time on that. And that's kind of exciting to
Yeah.
see that when we start playing around with little things on a daily basis and seeing our life shift, then working towards fertility and whatnot, we've had little successes prior, and then
Yeah.
we could really see what we could do. Yeah.
Yeah. Without a doubt. I have laid crystals on my patients before, and it's fascinating. I mean, it really is. And people do feel sometimes they feel like almost I put Moonstone on their hand, like a big rock, and they felt almost like this weird abstract feeling, like their hand was kind of melting away into the into the biomat because that's so they're
Wow,
surrounded
that
by
sounds
the
like a good
crystals.
treatment. Wow, that sounds like a really good treatment.
I
I
only
wouldn't
have
mind
it
having
on
one of
one
those.
because, of course, it's an investment. It's a $1,600 mat, but it's so I have it on one, and then sometimes people like everybody's asking for that one room. Everybody loves that room.
I could see why. I could see why. That sounds like an amazing room.
So awesome. So when people do, you have like a ton of information on Energy Muse. If people want to go there, I guess where are the different
Yeah.
places? You have also
So
Instagram, right?
yeah, we have Instagram and on Energy Muse. I definitely really, I want to say this. Yeah, I don't want to be so self-promoting, but I definitely think Crystal Muse and Baby Makes Three.
Mhm.
I just know that that particular chapter was so important that I think it took like 3 months to do that chapter, because I wanted to make sure that I included how to and then the people that lose babies and
Mhm.
miscarriage, and going through that journey to get ready again to try having a baby again. So there's so many things, and I wanted to make sure that there was rituals and things that were discussed, a little bit harder topics, not the ones that everyone talks about, but it is
Yeah.
part of the process. Definitely on our blog, on our energymuse.com, there's a ton of information there.
Mhm.
So I think that there's a lot, and I think that the difference between Energy Muse and all the other amazing crystal companies out there, because there's so many awesome ones. But what we do a little bit different is we are very proactive in having mantras go on all the time at Energy Muse. So when you come in the warehouse, there are mantras. We
Mhm.
are purifying our space. And So the sound, which I'm very big on,
Yeah.
is getting infused in those crystals. So what happens is when you open an Energy Muse crystal out of a bag or wherever you get from us, you can go to work with it. You don't have to cleanse it. You don't have to purify it. We do that for you. But bigger than that, there's a mantra combo list that gets changed all the time that's infusing the crystals with what we think is important for the vibe of the crystals to go out on the planet at this
Love
time.
that. I love it.
And so I think as our planet changes and there's more, I think more fear and anxiety on our frequency right now more than ever, we're trying to counteract with the mantras that are more into compassion and love and serenity, so that when you get that, you'll feel that subtle essence coming off our crystals. And we have done that for 21 years. It's part of our secret sauce. It's
I
part
love
of
that.
the integrity of
It's great.
who we are, the authenticity. I know that our employees that are here probably get really burnt out on that. Da, da, da. So, but it's a vibrational frequency that we stand by. We really do.
That's amazing. I love vibes. I love vibrations. It really makes a difference. And also the mantras, the sounds. I think that that's another element that really is so underestimated. People don't
Yeah.
realize, I mean, how powerful vibration is, sound vibration.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I totally agree. And so if
Yeah.
people want to get the songs or the sounds that you were mentioning, they should
Yeah.
DM you guys on
Yeah.
Instagram?
Yeah, DM us on Instagram, on Energy Muse, and just send us a DM and say, can you send us the clearing soundtrack? And we will get that over to you and play around with it. Because once again, if you're trying to get pregnant, you've got to keep not only your human temple clean, you got to keep your environment clean. Okay.
Hmm.
So once again, in Crystal Muse on page 32, I got a sacred prayer from a Native American man that I had studied with for many years. He let me reprint this
Wow.
prayer, this cleansing prayer that you're not going to find anywhere, because
Yeah,
it's we're talking a long lineage of Native American. He's one of the few
amazing.
on the planet that's still alive. But these are all secrets, or I want to. You can you could take a long time to get somewhere, or you could just do some things that, like, we've already like worked through all this stuff. We're trying to deliver the fast track for you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we got to like speed it up here, human
I
consciousness
think so
right
too.
now. Like
Yeah.
we got to like start leveling up like thousands. Okay.
Yes.
Fast, because um if not, all this stuff that's going on is going to keep going on until we get it, until we wake up, really.
Yeah, we
so
need the
so
medicine.
so this is some energetic medicine, and I do say this in the fact that I've been doing this a long time, and it's my reason to be here. It's my soul, it's my passion, and luckily for my business partner Timmy and I, we have access to the best people in the world because we've been doing this for so long. But it is our duty to start offering this information up freely,
Yeah.
so that people don't have, oh, I can't afford it or whatever. No, here, let us offer it to you for free so
Yeah.
that you can get better and heal. Mental health is important right now. You can get into a place, you can start clearing. And then what you need to do is you need to give it to your best friend and have her
Hmm.
give it to her family. And here it is. Let's get that momentum. Let's have an evolution of love and giving and clearing and doing the work, because we got to get there fast. We really do.
Amen.
We
Oh,
do. We do. We do. We do.
big time. I'm
And we
feeling
can,
that.
and the thing is that we can do it.
Yeah,
We're all that awesome. We have it in us, so we wouldn't be here right now.
that's right. We are powerful.
Yes. So, so yes, so that's, Energy Muse. And please, if you have questions or whatnot, we are available, and more than happy to answer anything that anybody has.
Fantastic. Heather, this was such a pleasure. I knew it was going
Thank
to be a lot of fun
you.
talking to you. I had so many questions. And of course, we could talk about this for hours and hours more because there's just so much
Yes.
to
Yes. Yes.
crystals. And thank you so much for serving the world in the way that you're doing. And I really do feel such an alignment with you and what you do. So thank you so much,
Well,
Heather.
me to you. Thank you for what you do,
Thank
because
you.
it's so important to have these conversations. So thank you for creating such a beautiful space and having such a great voice that people want to listen to. So thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.